Well, I think we should trace back this issue to the 90s, when the Allied forces carried out the Allied force operation against Yugoslavia, against the will of the Kremlin. At that time, they were blocking UN resolutions to solve the crisis, and NATO decided to apply newly forged concept of the responsibility to protect, to avoid international bodies, the main body, and to act to stop the genocide committed by Mr. Milosevic. And it deeply wounded Kremlin, and Kremlin since then is trying to show that it was a turning point when Moscow decided to revise its relations with the West. And certainly what we see now, it's like in that time, Russia is trying to, from the one hand, to block any resolutions via the legitimate bodies like UN, at the same time trying to wage the war by their proxies against the West. So we see, and possibly we can connect the Russian resentment against the West in this case. And the second thing is NATO. Russia is against NATO for various reasons, and some of them are rational, some of them are not. If we have a look at their arguments, they say that the NATO and the West in general promised not to expand eastwards after the reunification of Germany. But in reality, you wouldn't find any official documents nor the memo of any those who took participation in the negotiation process. Even President Gorbachev, first and the last president of the Soviet Union, said that the issue of NATO enlargement has not been discussed during these talks. Secondly, I would say that it's not the expansion of NATO eastwards, but rather the escape of those countries, especially Baltic ones and Poland, from the Russian dominance. And the recent history and conflict against the Russian war against Georgia in 2008 and the Russian war against Ukraine in 2014-2016 proved they were right. So the Kremlin decided to strike back exactly at the point when there was deep wound, as they say, was made by the West. And since these people in the Kremlin believe in all type of conspiracy theories, they see any type of the democratic revolutions in the Eastern Europe or all across the world as a conspiracy against Russia by the CIA and the other American special bodies. And that's why they used the weakest point, Montenegro, as a target of their strike. Lest we forget that Montenegro was about to join NATO in this spring. And if this coup d'etat succeeded, it would block this process and certainly will change some dynamics in the region. And it's interesting that while we are speaking, now there is an ongoing military drill by NATO called Montenegro 2006. At the same time, this week there will be a Russian military drill, the Slavic Brotherhood, where the Serbians, Belarusians and Russians will be taking some exercises, and certainly there will be some offensive part to that.